Hi, my name's Chris. I'm an ESL teacher in South Korea, and for the past week I've been teaching virtually from home due to the coronavirus. I thought I'd just share a couple of quick tricks that I learned with Microsoft Word, using it as a very quick and easy virtual whiteboard. I thought I'd share some of the points with you. So the first thing I did was set up a virtual training document with a friendly little face on it. So when students start their Zoom meeting, I always share this screen first so that they see the dog. A lot of them, it's the first time they're using Zoom. They're not really familiar with virtual training, so I wanted to have something very clearly that says you're in the right place and it's a friendly place for learning. This screen looks really cluttered right now, so I'd like to first of all show you a couple things I learned to make the screen less cluttered, and then I'll move into actually using it for teaching. So first thing I do is collapse the ribbon. That makes it a lot cleaner. The second thing I do is move to a web layout, and that's the really cool thing, the main trick that I learned to make it much more practical, because you'll notice if you zoom in here, it doesn't really help you out that much. Zooming is not your friend in the normal layout. And by the way I'm zooming quickly is holding down the control button on the keyboard and then using the mouse scroll wheel. But if we zoom in the online layout, the web layout, look at that. It looks just like a web page. So it resizes the page for you. That's really helpful. All right. I also do a couple things with fonts and colors that helps make the class go more easily. So the first thing I do is I keep track of what the students say. I don't type everything they say, but if it's important, or especially if I'm going to correct it, I want to get a record of what they said the first time. So this morning I asked a student, what have you done today so far? And he said, I eat breakfast today morning. And I thought that was a good thing to correct, so I decided I would use red text to correct it. I ate breakfast this morning. And then I used shift and home, or you could also use shift control arrow to go word by word. Control arrow is really good for skipping between words. And that way I highlighted it so the student can see what text I'm actually pointing to, because he can't see my hand pointing to it, right? So highlighting text is useful. I had the student say this, and he said, I ate breakfast today morning, and I double clicked this and said, one more time. It's a really neat way to highlight it. And he said, oh, not today morning, this morning. I ate breakfast this morning. Okay, by the way, with these quick buttons, I found myself using this a lot. So it's click, 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 and you have to click away for it to go away. So what I wanted to do is add this to the quick bar there. So if you want to open the ribbon permanently, you can double click any of those names on the ribbon. It'll come down. You can close it with this, or just by double clicking again. So if you right click on anything on any of these ribbons, you can right click on those icons and you have a choice to add to the quick access toolbar. So I'm going to do that right now. I found myself changing the font color a lot, so I'm going to right click, add to quick access toolbar. It shows up right up there. Now, I don't like it being up there. I like it being a little closer to the bottom where I can access it better. So if you click this drop down arrow on the right, show below the ribbon. Now it jumps down there. Now it's right where I need it. Another one that I eventually put in there because I found myself doing a pros and cons column. Columns don't work in web layout view. There may be some trick to do it, but it's not very straightforward. So inserting a table is much better. So under Insert Table, I right-clicked Add to Quick Access Toolbar, and now it's right there. So I can quickly do a 2x1 table. I'm going to put pros here and cons here. And I can resize that very quickly, and then just mouse arrow return down and say pros are it's good and stuff, and cons are it's not so good sometimes. And I don't like those lines. You might like them. If you don't like them, you can quickly press this button for the pop-up menu and just turn off those borders. So that's a way to quickly have columns without using columns, because columns don't work in web layout. Now another thing I did was I kind of thought ahead a little bit that there might be some feedback in the beginning. Oh, one student was having problems with his audio also, so I used this as a message zone. I could have done text in Zoom, but this window was already open, so I said, please start your audio. Or audio. So it could be a place for you to type with students. One note is if you make a mistake with spelling, I turned off the autocorrect because a lot of times when I'm in blue, when I'm recording what the student said and typing it, there'll be a lot of mistakes. And the green lines and red lines, it got a little noisy for me, especially because some of the students are using their phone, and so they don't have as much screen space to see that. So the more noise, the less noise, the better. So the way I got rid of that was going to the main file menu, options. Options are where you can tweak pretty much everything. There's a whole lot of options here. You're looking for the one that says proofing, and then turn off all of these, correcting spelling and grammar. Check spelling as you type, that puts the red lines under misspellings. I'm thinking about turning that back on because sometimes I misspell things and I miss it. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Actually, if I make a mistake, I want to see it. But definitely I turned off the grammar errors because those green lines are going to be all over the place because you're making incomplete sentences or starting sentences for your students. And so turning that one off was good. So what else can you do with your own web page? Well, you can embed media. So I put this photo with one of the students. I was working on present progressive, be doing, what is happening in this photo. And the student said, monkey give banana to dog. And my correction was something like, not that it's very important, but it's an orangutan. And then I said, just highlighted it this way. You remember this tense? If the student doesn't remember the tense, I might make a couple examples with the form and with the sentence, but he actually corrected quickly, and he said, the orangutan, where'd it go? There it is. If you quickly want to get rid of something, you press Shift Home to highlight the whole line and delete it. So the orangutan. It's nice to have that red button so close in times when the color's off. The orangutan is giving a banana to a dog. I think I went ahead and modified it even more with him, building it up to the orangutan is offering a banana to a dog, but the dog doesn't want it. Okay, so you can use Zoom to share other windows that have pictures in them. The more you share, the more time and transition it takes between different applications. Some students have slower bandwidth, or I've had a couple hiccups where Zoom wouldn't show the window that I was trying to switch to. So I found in just copying and pasting those pictures into Word, and then of course centering them on the page, because this doesn't look quite as good as this, right? So centering the picture, centering the question, that saves you having to switch back and forth. Now, a more professional example would be this one. It's a pie chart. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit because this is a big pie chart. Or I could just resize it. That might be better. Keep it at 100. So I had the student tell me what was happening in this chart. This chart shows, yada, yada, yada. So as long as you think ahead a little bit, I try to put about a page worth of white space. So hit enter a few times so that when this part is showing that you don't have a pie chart at the bottom of it. Okay, so that's embedding media. Now after you're done, you have a handy text record of what happened in the class. So I'm going to show you how to send this to the student. You could send the actual, you could attach the Word file to the email, but it's something else for them to open. Not all students have Microsoft Word on their phone. So what I do is I just copy all the text. I don't copy that part. That's a Control-C to copy. And then I have, I've actually created in Word a quick template for my virtual learning. So it gives me a quick, I can change any of these if I want to, but the way that works is you make an email and then you go to templates. It's down here by the trash can, more options, templates. You can save this draft as a new template. I have mine called virtual feedback. It's just a quick place for a video link. Zoom will send you, if you record to the cloud, they'll send you a link, and so I'll link that for them. And then under this part, it says feedback is below. I'll just right-click paste, and you have this giant text here. So you have to reselect, and then right here is your text size. Just go to normal. So the good thing is it preserves the color for you, and it preserves if you're using a special font for some reason. And I might go through and edit if I sent them that kind of message, and don't need that photo. It won't generally, I haven't found it able to paste the photo directly. You could go back and get the picture if you want, but it usually just leaves a blank space there. So in any event, copying and pasting the feedback into the email is a nice way so that they don't have to go and open an attachment. Okay, so one more time quickly, what we did today is look at using Microsoft Word as a virtual whiteboard. We collapse the ribbon, go in and put anything that you're using a lot, like bullet points or columns. You can right click on them and add to the quick access toolbar. And then if your toolbar is in the wrong place, come down here, and if you don't like it down there, you can put it above the ribbon. I prefer mine below the ribbon. Then choosing web layout gives you the whole screen to work with. It gets rid of this ugly gray area on the sides, and it gives you a better scrolling option. So when you scroll in, it reformats your text like any modern website does with XML.